Hi, everyone. We are here with Casey, and today he's going to share his story of how he joined my Successive Rental Properties program and got his very first rental property. I'm really excited for you guys to hear from him, and maybe you can be inspired to get your first rental property. So Casey, I know all this information, all the things I'm going to ask, but not everybody else knows that's watching. So why don't you go ahead and tell us a little bit about yourself, where you live, what you do, and maybe also what is your why for wanting to start investing in real estate?
Sure. So I live in Denver, Colorado. My real estate journey began when I was like 19, when I was living in New York City for a while. I was reading books on the subway, and now that I'm 43, I finally got my first rental property. It took a lot of time and energy and building things to get there. So what we do for a living is my wife and I own 14 interactive murder mystery dinner shows called The Dinner Detective. And they're all over the country. And long story short, we've been doing that for 12 years. Our first location was in San Diego, and we're all the way out to North Carolina. After the pandemic, we're like, oh no, there goes our hopes and dreams of starting a real estate empire, if you will. And we came out of it actually ahead because people were really excited to go out and do things again. And so we were in a position to be able to, move forward. And Casey and I had been chatting, through Instagram for about a year, I think, off and on. And, I finally got to the point where it's like, inaction is not good anymore. And so in February, we ripped off the Band-Aid and got started. We closed our first property, like 2 weeks ago, a week ago?
Yep.
Week ago.
Yeah. Woo! I'm excited. So we'll talk about that in a second. So my question for you is, so many people, I feel like, because I talk to so many people on Instagram, on the DMs all the time, a lot of them are analysis paralysis. They've done research upon research, and they just get opinions up the wazoo from everyone. And they're just like, I don't know what to do. I don't know where to start. So what kind of research had you done, and what brought you to the decision like, hey, look, I've got to take action and do something? Tell me about the research and all the work you've done. I know you were an agent in the past as well.
Yeah, I was a real estate agent for about 7 years in Southern California. So I had that background to help me kind of, have that knowledge. But honestly, after being out of it for so long, you lose a lot of the practical side of it. But, I had a little bit of a foundation in that. And so not to get too gory details, but last June, I hurt myself with a lawnmower.
I remember you told me that.
And so I had been following another gentleman online, that's a real estate investor. And funny enough, you did an interview with him. And I really liked your style. And then I started following your Instagram, and I was like, oh, this is a little bit more my speed. The other guy is great. He's very knowledgeable, no question about it, but it was overcomplicated. It's like, I have a very complicated life to begin with. I needed something to simplify it and allow me a little bit more of a simplified way of getting into this, but have the similar results in which he was talking about, which kind of turned me on about his program initially. And I was like, then I spoke with Casey. We did about an hour-long interview thing, just to see if she wanted to work with me, if I want to work with her. And how you broke it down, Casey, was just like, okay, this I can drink this. I can sip at this. I can sip at the brick by brick, coffee cup versus the fire hose of the other guy.
Yeah.
And so it was like, it got me excited. And then, we just had to get a couple of our ducks in a row to make sure that, because I'm big on, if I'm going to do something, I'm going to do it. Mm-hmm. I don't want to just, sign up and then wait and have that analysis by paralysis by analysis and things like that. So once we got all our ducks in a row and I was ready, I felt comfortable that it's time. Yeah. No matter how busy we are, it's time to make this happen, because I feel that things were going to change about that time as far as the economy is concerned. So I wanted to really get moving.
So Casey, what were you, I don't always ask this, but what were you kind of expecting, my program to be like? And then what did it end up being like? And was that what you expected, better or worse than what you were anticipating?
That's a great question. So, when I to be honest with you, I didn't know what to expect per se. Like I knew that, you know, it was going to be a, because of our conversation that, you know, the initial conversation, I knew it wasn't going to be like endless spreadsheets.
Right.
You know, it's like, you know, because for someone like me, you know, I've got too many irons in the fire. I'm a little ADD. And so it's like sitting on a spreadsheet and trying to run all these numbers was just too much.
Yeah.
And so when I got the information and you're teachable is, you know, yeah, a lot of it was redundant for me just because, you know, I have the experience there, but it was also, you know, I kind of forced myself to make sure I pay attention to what you're going to say, because there's going to be things in there from your experiences that I'm not going to either remember or have a direct experience in, or something along those lines. So it was like, I felt it very important to go through, even though it was like, okay, this is, you know, I know this stuff because of my past as an agent. But it was like, okay, it was a nice refresher course in a lot of cases. And again, you simplified things. You didn't overcomplicate it. And you gave all the options. Okay, you can do long-term, you can do short-term. This is how this works. This is what wholesale looks like. This is, you know, this is how you go through the, you know, when you need to have a landlord, you know, or choose a landlord, this is how that process goes, you know, and identifying your market. And you express all the things that, you know, it turned me on about like the other guy, but it was like, again, simplified. It was like, okay, this is, I don't have to like deep dive into this thing and overanalyze. It's what it is. And obviously we've found success by going that method.
Yeah. Thank you.
Yeah.
So let's talk about your rental property. Tell us all about, like, you know, it'll be specific, but like, where is it? And, you know, how did you get the deal and all that fun stuff everybody wants to know.
Right. And I'm going to preface this with a little bit. So one of the things that Kasey has us do is identify several markets and then kind of dwindle that down. And there was a point in time where I picked a market and then I kept on finding all these red flags. And so Kasey's coaching got me, I was getting to the point where I was getting really frustrated. I was sending her an email. I'm like, listen, this isn't working. And so, you know, she really did help me identify a market that I hadn't considered. You know, I thought I had like looked at it all, and then, you know, she made a suggestion, and then we found our market, and our market ended up being Montgomery, Alabama. I have never stepped foot in Alabama. The furthest south I've been outside of Florida, you know, I've been to Georgia once, but really it was Tennessee. It was the furthest of the deep south, if you will, that I had ever been. And so I got to know, I deep dived into Alabama. I used a lot of my, not only my real estate experience, but my current business experience, because we have to really kind of know the city that we're getting into. And so, and just trying to understand things, and then talking to real estate agents and all that fun stuff, really, you know, learning those nuances of the city really helped. I even got into YouTube and watched real estate agent videos, and, you know, and a lot of people have blogs or vlogs about their city. And so I kind of watched that and kind of get to know what the do's and the don'ts are about that area and the culture and things like that, just to kind of get an idea of what it's like in Montgomery from afar. And then once we got into purchasing we've identified an area in East Montgomery, which is kind of like the good section. One thing that we really dedicated to was, once we had the offer accepted, we wanted to go out there for the inspection. We wanted to be there, see it, drive the city. So we were out there for about 36 hours, give or take. And we got to know the city. And we saw our property, we met our real estate agent, we met our property manager. And that was a great experience, because I think making that human connection was helpful, because, you know, I'll be honest, I'm not sure if it had any role in it, but our property managers and our contractor have just gone above and beyond for us. And they're like, we never meet our investors. And so I think that might have helped us a little bit, potentially. So, and it was nice seeing Montgomery. It was full of surprises. Not having ever been to Alabama. So
what type of house did you get, and how much did you buy it for and all that?
So we bought it for $155,000. It's a 3-bedroom, 2-bath, single family residence. Sorry for the dings. Okay. It's about 1,400 square feet. I forget the exact lot square footage. I think it's about 5,000 square feet. Lot, no garage, built in 1990. That was an important factor for us. One thing our property manager explained to us was that houses that are over 40 years old or so have plumbing issues and are common plumbing issues in Montgomery. So it was kind of important for us to find a somewhat newer home. And so it, technically it probably could have been turnkey, but we wanted to, after seeing it and having some little issues that we wanted to fix, we ended up putting about $13,000 in repairs and updates in there. It's silly things like they had what's called a micro toilet. It's just a shorter toilet. I don't know why that even exists, but
for short people like me. No.
Yeah, there you go. It's a less of a distance.
Yeah.
So we're replacing toilets. We're putting some laminate flooring in.
Mhm.
We're painting the entire interior, taking just care of some just cosmetics mostly.
Yeah.
And just to get it grouting, just some basic repairs on a 32-year-old house. So
what's your cash flow going to be?
If it rents the way we need it to, because we're still in that process, because repairs are happening, we're shooting for $1,295.
Awesome.
And our contractor, our PM, everybody believes that with the repairs we'll be able to get that. And then but again, as we just talked on our recent coaching call, there's a consideration that we may leave it as we bought cash, and we're in the process of refinancing, so we're debating whether or not to maybe even leave it cash, just to increase that cash flow,
because that'd be a great income. Not have to share it with the bank.
Oh, absolutely.
So many strategies.
Yeah.
So would you say, Casey, after all the time we've worked together, I know we still have some more time together, so we'll, work on the next properties and all that. Would you say that your investment in the program has been worth it?
100%. Even before I bought the house, I think I was telling you that. It's like, because it's like, I will personally overanalyze and freak myself out. It's like, am I doing the right thing? And so just to kind of, even from a psychological sense of being able to go, Casey, I'm freaking out here. All the Caseys on this call.
I know, I love it. I don't know any other Caseys.
I know, me neither.
It's so fun.
It was really nice to be able to bounce frustrations off, because it's like I can only talk to my wife about that so much, because we have such similar perspective. We're both looking this way, where you can kind of look at from your perspective and give us kind of walk us through that. So the investment, I don't even think about it. Like it was like, the value is just there. Because, and the beautiful thing, is, one of the concerns you always get into these programs is, okay, are you going to get ghosted, or are you going to always be, logged into, having to make an appointment, or you're going to be stuck doing, this small amount of time, and that's all you get, and you can't ask questions outside of that. But that was never the case. It was like, I'd email you several times during the week as we went through the process. You'd look at every contract, every agreement, every inspection, everything. You looked at everything and you gave your 2 cents on every detail, like details I wasn't even considering. You give feedback on, which was just like, great, these are things I hadn't considered, and I need to pay attention to these in the future. So like I said, the investment that we made into your program, it was negligible for what we're, the confidence that it gave us.
Thank you, Casey. That means a lot.
Good.
Thank you.
Yep.
So what would you say, final question, what would you say to people that are on the fence? Obviously, those people that are watching this right now, it's because they're considering joining my program.
Yep.
What would you say to them if they're watching you talk right now?
If your ducks in a row, get off the fence. If you're ready, go. There's honestly right now, especially, we just talked about this on our coaching call before this, was like, the time is now. And, it's like, there's enough guardrails that Casey gives you that you're not going to make a bad deal unless you don't listen to her. Because as a former coach myself, I've had plenty of my people that I coach not listen and they fall apart. But if you do as instructed, you're going to be all right. And so just go, because inaction doesn't bring you anything except for more nothing.
Love it. Good advice. Well, Casey, thank you so much. I've enjoyed working with you. We're not done. Thank you so much for the great testimonial. I really appreciate you. Thank you very much.
Yeah, thank you.